Talk. Talk. Talk to me Tuesday. Hey there, welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday on a Tuesday. I'm your host, Madi B. And today we have a really special guest. This law firm, D. Miller & Associates, has been blessed just this year to bring new members, and not just new members to the team, but new attorneys. So without further ado, I would like to introduce one of our new attorneys to the family, D. Miller & Associates, Clarence King. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
We are so excited to have you on the show today because it allows us to get to know you a little bit better as one of our 8 attorneys that we have here on the team. And not only that, we get to know you a little bit better, but also know a little bit about your journey on how and what it took to get here. So I want to start off with those that have never met you before, or maybe those that do know you, a little bit about yourself so we can start uncovering that.
Okay. Well, I am originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I've been in Houston for a little over 8 years now. I went to undergrad at Alabama A&M University. I came down to Houston for grad school, where I went to Texas Southern to get my master's in public administration. And at that point, I was kind of looking toward going to politics, maybe. Never know, may still do that. But at the same time, then I went on to go to law school at Thurgood Marshall University. And now I am here happily at D. Miller & Associates.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about this journey. Now, you did mention you're from Cleveland, Ohio. Then you went to your undergrad in Alabama. So, and then you came to Texas. So let's talk about that. That's a lot of weather changes. But how was that experience, especially your undergrad at Alabama A&M?
It was definitely a big difference coming from the Midwest and going down to the Southeast and being in a very rural area, to say the least. So definitely learned some different sayings, some different dishes, met a lot of different people. I thoroughly enjoyed it, though. I try to go back as much as I can for homecomings, things like that. But I had a ball, learned a lot, grew up, came as an 18-year-old, left as a 22-year-old. So I grew up a lot there. So I definitely owe them a lot.
Wow, you definitely owe a lot of what you've learned of your maturity to those years in college. And then from there, you landed over here in Houston to do your grad school. So how different was that from your undergrad, which is in a totally different state? Let's just begin by saying that. You went from Alabama to Texas, undergrad to grad. So how was the difference there before, even thinking about going to law school?
I think the biggest difference, one, moving across, not really across country, but across region rather, having to readjust, being lost often, and then having to make sure you're still working full time and and then going to class at nighttime, juggling those things. Time management became very, very vital, but it made you be accountable. So if you took a little more time doing one portion, something else may suffer. So you had to kind of get on top of your scheduling and make sure you took care of all your opportunities and all your obligations in a timely fashion.
Wow. So you were like an example of what a lot of people do when they have a vision and a goal, and that's to complete their grad school or even their undergrad, right? Is they still have to make ends meet. They go to work and then they have to, at the end of the day, after a busy day and you're so tired, you still have to go to class. So talk to us about how was that process? Was that easier because, you were at your prime, you just got out of undergrad, or was it still kind of difficult?
I think it still presented some problems, but I think that's when you have to dig a little bit deeper. You have to dig a little bit deeper and find out what's important to you and what you're willing to do to get there. So I got introduced to coffee at that point in time and all kinds of random snacks that would give me some kind of false sense of energy for a moment. And then you have to just push through. But then it's all worth it on the back end. When you get through it and look back at it, you're really, really proud of it. And you're thankful that you pushed through and that got to the other side of the mountain.
Yeah. Now let's talk about that other side of the mountain. Okay. So not only did you go to grad school, you made a decision to go to law school. Okay. So let's talk about what even got you interested. Did this Was this birthed in college, or was this birthed like before college? Like, what happened that even got you interested in this niche?
I think it first started when I was probably in grade school. I have an older cousin that is a attorney as well, and he was a guy I always looked up to. And I thought honestly when I was younger, it's a really cool field. I had no idea what I had to do to get there, what it was going to take, but I thought this is a really, really cool field. I'm interested. I can help a lot of people. I can do a lot of things with it. So he allowed me to shadow him for a week. My summertime, I went up to Chicago where he lives, and I sat in his office as a sixth grader and just kind of walked around and just try to see myself, envisioning myself going into that niche. And then from there, like pre-law societies throughout undergrad and just getting more exposure to it and seeing what it took. Not gonna lie, initially it was definitely a feat. Like, oh, I have to go back to school again. I've done a lot of school now, so I'm trying to get on the other side to beginning my career path. But I thoroughly am glad that that was opened up to me at a young age. Unfortunately, a lot of times, if you don't have someone around you to make something seem more tangible or something that can be more realistic, you may cap your dreams out a little bit earlier. So it was definitely a blessing to have someone around me at a young age. And my parents were all in support of it and pushed me to the other side. So I definitely thank my village because it took a
Yeah.
village for sure. So
It does take a village for,
sure.
a lot of things, and even just getting through college and even a dream of having, a profession and a title at this magnitude is great. So let's talk about your process. So you decided, okay, I'm going to go to law school.
Mhm.
And for law school, it's 3 years. It really depends on the state if you have to go to law school, if you're just to sit for the test.
Mhm.
However, let's neither here nor there, right? What was your process just to get into law school? Talk to us about that. And were there any challenges for you?
Definitely. I thought that I was going to be able to not cram per se, but to get into law school, you have an LSAT. So for the LSAT, I thought I did pretty well in undergrad. So I had this misconceived notion that it would just transfer over. Not the case. You have to definitely dedicate yourself to it, invest in it, take courses, and do other things along those lines to make sure you're prepared. So I took some courses, and then, but for 1 year, I was going to come out of school, work for 1 year, go right to school. I didn't go that route. So I took some courses with Kaplan, and my first time taking it, I didn't do as well as I wanted to do. So I worked additional 6 months and then took it again, and then I was admitted. So it definitely was some humbling experiences on the way to making sure I was going to be able to pursue my dream further.
Yeah, and look, your humbling experiences have not stopped there. They're going to continue to happen, and it's going to open up
Most
the
definitely.
chapter of law school.
Mhm.
So now that you got accepted into law school, once your journey, in the past, was it what you envisioned it to be?
I really think that it's hard to even envision it. I thought that I was prepared. But that first year, everyone tells you that first year is going to be so like a chicken around with your head cut off. You're going to be in the library 12 hours a day studying, no sleep. Now, a lot of that's actually true. So I won't say that's not actual a good, I guess, projection. But I think that when you get into it and you realize how serious it is, and it's a professional school, you're not there in undergrad having as much fun as you had in undergrad, not even grad school. It's a professional school. So you take it like an actual profession begins on day one. So I have colleagues to this day that I work with, and we still exchange ideas that we went to school together. And that business started, your brand started then. You had to make sure
Wow.
you were not doing anything to tarnish whatever you had your future goals to be at that point in time. So it became serious. It was still ironically fun throughout that chaotic 3 years, but it was definitely a serious situation from the beginning. And you had to build with those people. And that's why you're so close to them now. You went through that fire with them day in, day out. You were there more than being at home, more than family, more than
Yeah.
spouses. You were next to these people all day, every day.
Yeah.
So definitely different, but it was definitely rewarding. And I'm glad that I can say it was on the backside now, and I can look at it in the rearview mirror now.
Yeah, and I know you just mentioned, you went to a professional school. Like now we're talking about the profession, and lawyers go to this, doctors, CPAs, a lot of them go through this professional school. So I think that's great word of advice for those that are thinking about being an attorney or a lawyer. That once you get to law school, it's go time from day one all the way to the end. So I know I've heard a lot of attorneys that come onto the show and say exactly what you say, that the first year is going to either be a little bit more difficult, reorganizing, restructuring, all that good stuff, your life, your studying, your patterns, everything. But talk to us about what the second and the third year were. Were they a little bit more of a breeze, or were they still just as tough?
I won't say breeze. I will say because the courses, they all stay on top of one another. So if you have a course that you might not have been as strong in your 1L year, you're going to need some of that knowledge to go into your 2L classes and perform, or you're going to have to double back and do more work to kind of clean up that area so you have an actual foundation to go forward in.
Wow.
So I would say year 2, the classes are more complex because they're all kind of stacked on each other. But you still have learned how to study. I think the biggest hurdle initially is learning how to study and learn, because you can study for hours, and if it's not done efficiently, you're going to not have any kind of return for that. So you can put in all the days and all the nights, but you have to do it in a way that's efficient. You're going to retain the information. If you get too tired, you burnt out, go to sleep. Like,
Yeah.
you can't be up just dozing off and thinking you're going to retain the information. So taking care of your health and your mental ability, and just mental health as well, is very, very key. You have to have a stress reliever, work out, eat better, do things that give you energy. But I won't say it was a breeze, but you were more prepared because you already went through the first one and you kind of
Yeah.
know what you're doing a little bit more now, and you know what to expect. And
Yeah.
then you're trying to find places to work. You want to find opportunities. You're getting more out into the city.
I love it. I love the little tidbits that you're giving all the people that are watching right now, because it could be something helpful. Maybe not law school, but it could be another type of professional school that you're
Most
also
definitely.
looking into. So now a lot of the wisdom comes from the experience, right? And you completed law school, and now let's talk about the aftermath, the after
Okay.
law school. I kind
Mhm.
of want to know that journey, because a lot of attorneys have different journeys. Either they start an internship, a job, or they prepare to take that test to get their bar card, the bar exam. So,
Right.
what was your journey? What was that aftermath like?
I think you have initially this kind of, I'll compare it to like winning a Super Bowl. You have this high you're on. You're on this like, I finally got through law school, but then you have this looming, not fear, but this looming pressure of the bar exam is coming. So you kind of want to enjoy your family and friends, enjoy this big moment, but you know the time is now to really, really lock in, because all that previous preparation stops unless you have this next part of your journey completed. So
Right.
I'll say after maybe a week or two, we kind of just automatically just shut down. The same study group that I had during school, we already had our schedules and our different courses that we signed up for. And these courses are pretty hefty in expense. So you want to make sure you're serious. And when you get in there, you're ready to lock in and do the work. But I think even with the same thing with 1L year and 2L year, you have to learn how to really study for like 15 hours a day or 16 hours a day, if
Wow.
that's what you have to put in. But you can break it up as well. I'm not saying everyone has to do a long duration. Some people are more of journeys. They want to put in a long hour. Some people are like 5 hour windows, whatever works for you. The biggest
Mhm.
thing is learning how you study the best and learning how you can retain all this information. So with me, we had groups, we had like a literal Excel spreadsheet that were color coded, that like, from this time, we're going to close our eyes. We're going to go outside and just walk around for a little bit. We're going to play random music for a second to break up the day. But you had to have that kind of that regimented schedule that really had you on top of everything. And then at times
Yeah.
you're going to get tired, of course, but
Yeah.
it was a journey for sure.
Wow. And so, did you, while you were studying for the bar exam, were you working, or did you just shut down life, no work, and you just designated your time to study?
I did both. So I worked for a portion of it. And like, so my time that I put in was around 3.5 months. And then as you got closer, it got more and more intensive. So on that last month and a half to almost 2 months, that's when I stopped working and I went to just full time studying all day, and then
Mm.
trying to sleep when I could, and trying to get my timing down to where I was practicing my exams during the time I'd be administered to me. So if studying at like midnight wouldn't really be the best way to perform for an 8 o'clock exam. You want to make sure you're getting your body kind of adjusted to being up for 5 hour blocks during that
Right.
time frame. So
Right.
working as much as I wanted to, my pockets wanted me to, I had to make that sacrifice and call off for a little bit and then take leave.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about some of those challenges you either faced in law school or even studying for the bar. Both of them, it sounds like they kind of go hand in hand, but they're different levels to it, right? So, what are some challenges that you faced in, getting to this licensing level?
Definitely making sure that you are conscious of time, because time honestly will get away from you. There's this thing in our pocket called a cell phone. You pull it out and look at it. You look up, 30 minutes have passed, maybe even an hour sometimes. You're like, oh, why did I do that? But you kind of have to reprogram yourself to know this is your focal point. Everything else has to go by the wayside temporarily. And your loved ones, they're going to understand that. They know you put in so much time and effort, and they want you to succeed, because, uh, you're a vision of them. So you're going to be showing all the hard work they poured into you over these couple of years and your whole life for that matter. But you have to just literally, unfortunately, make those hard conversations with people. Like, you know what, guys, I love you guys. I would like to hang out. I want to come to this family event, but I really can't do it. I can't. I'll see you guys in a couple months. I promise. But you have to really shut things down. If you do
Yeah.
that and then put the time in, more times than not, you're going to get a reward from it. And if not, ask questions. Don't suffer
Yeah.
in silence. Please do
Yeah.
not suffer in silence.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I know, look, we're in the times now where there's always been distractions,
Mhm.
but we have a lot of distraction, especially on our mobile device, our TVs. Now everything is so easy on just your device. So I could see how just looking at your phone 2 hours later, because you were on YouTube, you
Right.
were on social media, you were
Hmm.
watching Talk to Me Tuesday, you
Right.
never know. So I completely understand on how sometimes maybe someone needs to hide the mobile device depending on what your strengths and weaknesses are. So now I just want to say, because I know it's a lot of hard work, so I want to say congratulations for going through that whole journey from undergrad to grad to law school to bar exam and to get licensed. I know that's a journey that
Appreciate it.
some do it very easy, some takes more than one try. It really depends on your state. So it's something to be super, super proud of. So I definitely want to congratulate you for that and being a
I
part of our
appreciate it.
team.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So now I want to ask you, Clarence, like what inspired you or what type of field of the legal world? Because there's a lot of categories that I want to talk about. Um, did you say I want to go into that? There's, the politics side, there's criminals, there's family law, there's personal injury. So where did you say I know what my calling is, or did it take a while?
It definitely took a while. And I will say that a lot of my mentors were always telling me that, you know what, you think you know, but once you start doing it, you're going to have a whole different perspective as you learn more and more. And they were absolutely correct. Um, Initially, I wanted to go do criminal defense, and not even to a place where I think I would never touch that type of law. I did an internship for that during school. It was definitely different from the civil side. I'll say that. I'm not closing any doors of opportunity to myself, saying that I would never do them. I just, after that, I also interned at a civil firm, and I did majority mass tort and personal injury. That was more, I gravitated more towards that over the time. And that was probably the most I was at that firm for the longest, and I learned the most there. And I saw myself being able to apply those things quickly and be able to come out and work with some great people and learn a lot. So that shifted my perspective. I really thought I was going directly to one path only, but I wasn't even opened up to the other opportunities. So as I'm still learning and evolving, opening more doors, I'm still trying to figure out what's going to be the next 10 years, what's going to be the next 5. I'm always adding things to my plate and then to my repertoire.
Yes, absolutely. So I do have a couple of comments and questions that I have for you. So I have one comment. This is Chad. Chad saying, hi. Hi,
Hey, Chad.
Chad. I have another comment. This is from Chriselle saying, knowing what you know now, would you have done anything differently? Ooh, that's a good
That's a
question.
very good question.
We got
And I
deep here.
and I have two different ways of answering that.
Give
Part
us
of
both of
me, like the hindsight says, typically hindsight's always 2020. It's always clear. I know I probably could have done this or that. But in the same token, I wouldn't want to take bumping my head. Bumping your head sometimes can have long
them.
lasting effects of making you a better person overall, learning from your mistakes. And you have that in the back of your mind, like, you know what? I don't want to do that again. Whereas that maybe if it would have worked out for me doing something that was maybe not the best practice of doing it, I might not have learned as much from it. So I won't say I would do anything differently. I would definitely say that I didn't do everything correctly the first time. I'll say that.
That's a good way to put it. I love that.
Also
I
that.
do have another comment. This is from Clarence R. He's saying, Happy Thanksgiving. It's always a blessing to know a good, fearless, hardworking, fact finding, and seeking attorney. Bigs up to you, bro, with much success. Amen.
I appreciate that so much, Clarence. Great name too.
Yes, great day. I had to double take because I was like, wait, I know he didn't take out his phone and get distracted. But no, it's a different Clarence. So you guys share something great and in common. So now I want to go back to your journey. I know we kind of talked about, what path you wanted to take within the legal world. Okay. It's once you become an attorney, you have to now figure out what the path is. And there's several paths that you might not even experience yet that you might later in life or vice versa, right?
True.
So let's talk about some of these cases that you have already experienced within your career. Is there one that stands out to you or resonates in your heart that has been memorable to you?
Most definitely. And ironically enough, a lot of times the cases that stand out to you the most are the ones that may have caused you some kind of had a little pushback in the beginning. Maybe you had to go over some hurdles or get through some things that weren't as seamless as other cases. So as a whole, I'll say some of the most rewarding experiences are going to be when our clients come to us and they are sometimes in their darkest moments, and they come to us when we have to be there for them as a counselor, which we are called as well, as an advocate, and be there and actually listen to them first, listen to them, understand, and then show empathy. And we're all humans. We all have ups and downs, and no one's absolved from that. So I think the most rewarding experiences are the ones that might have started off a little chaotic, or they might not have been as happy with us initially, but at the end of our actual cases, they became very, very close. They knew our firm would do good work for them in the future. They referred us cases going after that. But the ones that started off kind of rocky and they were able to like right the ship, and those that go well on the backside, those are the ones that always, you remember those. The ones that go great, you remember those as well. But the ones you can like pull together, and then a person that might have came to you kind of in a bad space leaves with a smile on their face, knowing you cared about them, knowing you put forth effort to make sure they were taken care of, that makes you feel a whole lot better going home at night.
Look, I love exactly what you said because that could be applied not just to you in a case. It could be applied to people that are watching right now and to life. The more, with chaotic circumstances, and then you kind of nurture something, a situation, a person, a relationship, those are the ones that resonate deep in your heart. Those are the ones that really have a very memorable experience, if not a very rewarding one. So I
I
love
agree.
what you said, and I love that you're able to recognize that from your cases that you have. Now, I do want to ask you, Clarence, like, a lot of the attorneys, they fight for their clients, whatever field it is. You guys have clients, whether it's a business, on the civil side, or an actual client that has been injured or hurt. So, what inspires you every day, every morning to fight for these clients so that they have a voice in front of the court of law?
It's definitely inspirational to know that they're giving you that kind of trust. They're putting they're investing in you in more ways than one. They're investing in you. They're putting their trust in you that you're going to take care of something that's very, very important to them. There's nothing that they're bringing something to you that's very, very important along the lines that it could be life changing. So if they're going to put that kind of trust in me to go in front of a judge or an opposing counsel and take care of them and their issues, I owe them that. I owe them and give them all I can and then some. So I owe them that. And the fact that just having that discourse or that dialogue after the fact, after you've been able to do something, and as long as you're going to put your best foot forward every day and your actual name is going to be on that, I think you have to care about it that much. You have to be able to make sure that your client knows that when they come to you, you're going to get everything I have. So
Yeah.
that's just really inspirational for me to just keep on doing it, seeing a smile on somebody's face afterwards, them saying they really appreciate it. And there's a lot of times we don't get the best rep as attorneys and lawyers, but to have at least one person change their mind and then go tell somebody else, that's a great thing.
Yes, I love it. And I love to hear your passion in the show. I think it's very inspiring for not only myself, but those that are watching. So now here at D. Miller and Associates, you mentioned it earlier, we are a civil law firm. Now, with the civil law firm, there's a lot of cases that, we work on here as a law firm. Now, what cases do you work on in particular, or what section or department? Really break it down for those that are watching right now.
Okay. Yes, I work in the personal injury department. We have quite a few different hats that we wear over here at D. Miller and Associates. I work in the personal injury department doing everything from slip and falls, premises liability, to motor vehicle accidents, 18-wheelers. And we just have a lot of different hats we pass around here, but that's typically been my niche so far. And we've been kind of going with that for the time being.
Awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of cases that we do take care of, and there's, we have a total of 8 attorneys. So I know, for you guys that are watching, don't think it's just Clarence doing it, because
No,
if not, we would have him underwater, right?
literally.
Exactly. So I want to go over some of the comments that we've received in, reference to our show. So Jennifer is saying, "Yay, Clarence, so proud of you."
I appreciate
And then
it.
I have another comment from Maria saying, "Your dedication is amazing, Clarence. Thanks for sharing your journey."
I appreciate it. No problem.
Yeah. So for those that are watching right now that either have thought about going to law school or want to go to law school, or maybe someone that's in high school that's like, "Hey, I want to be like Clarence King." First of all, you have a great name, Attorney Clarence King. So what would you say to someone who is thinking about it, going through it, or just it's a thought in the back of the mind to go to law school?
I would say reach out to someone. And if you don't know anyone personally, I promise you, if you came to a school, if you came to an event, a mixer of some sort, there is someone there that would have no problem having lunch with you, or even coffee, or even a call. I know right now we can't really be out and about too much. So a Zoom call, per se, with a Zoom call, a phone call, and just ask them some questions. There's no problem with asking questions, because we didn't know either. So I say reach out to someone. If you can, shadow them if possible, whenever that's okay again. Shadowing is always good, but I know sometimes some things, at least for me personally, I can't say for others. I feel like at times some goals may seem like they're just too lofty until you actually start to do them. And chip by chip, step by step, you realize, hold on, I'm kind of on the way to this goal. So don't let anything seem too big, seem far fetched. It doesn't exist. Just you have to
Yes.
get the ball rolling, and you'll look up and be surprised where you end up at.
Yes, yes, that's very inspiring. You definitely can do whatever you set your mind to. So I love
Most
that.
definitely.
Now, I kind of want to switch over to a more fun side, and
Okay.
kind of get to know you in a little different light.
Okay.
So I kind of want to make it a little bit relevant to what's happening this week. This week is super important. Not only
Right.
is it important that we meet you and really welcome you to our team, but also we have a holiday that's around the corner,
Yes.
which is Thanksgiving. So how do you feel about that holiday? Is this one of your favorites?
It's one of my favorites. It's kind of right behind Christmas. Christmas is my favorite, but Thanksgiving is always a great time. Family and friends get together. We get to stuff our faces and watch football literally all day long. So it's definitely a great day, and we get to reflect. Every year is not promised, so we get to reflect, be around family and friends, and look back on the past year and be thankful.
Yes, I agree with you. And this year will be very different to many
Mhm.
families. I know we're very, something to be thankful for is that we have the luxury that we can have now Zoom calls, voice calls, FaceTime, all of that good stuff, to where you should not feel like you don't have your normal Thanksgiving. Virtual
Right.
calls are gonna be what's popping this year. So
Right.
make sure that you guys do that, as if you guys don't want to hang out in a big group, but
Right.
definitely check on your loved ones that are by themselves. Those that are by themselves this year has been extremely hard, especially those that are introverts, extroverts, all that good stuff. So make sure that just in case you are with your loved ones, reach out to someone virtually, because they may not have the luxury of doing that, and just making sure that they are in a safe manner. So I heard, Clarence, that you just said you love to stuff your face on Thanksgiving, and definitely that's what we do. We eat a lot, right? It's
Oh,
about
definitely.
reflecting, it's about giving thanks, it's about being humble and thankful for those that are around you. But along with that, you come together, and the key to anyone's heart is food. So
Right.
it starts to that. We heard you have a favorite dish that you actually shared with not just us, but the viewers as well.
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Um,
don't reveal it yet. I think I want to keep
okay.
a secret. Okay. But if you had to give a clue, is this something you make, or is this a dish that is a family recipe?
It's more of a family thing. I am just really good at commentating, being in the room, making the air the aura in the room just happy. That's what I do. I walk around and make sure everyone has their beverages, they're happy, they're smiling. But I don't quite hands on. That's not really my forte. But I'm learning. I'm getting better every year.
See, that's what matters right there is that you're putting that best foot forward to
Mhm.
learn. I love it. I could tell that you're that charismatic guy that's in the room and makes someone turn that frown upside down. So let's go ahead and make sure our viewers also have that warm, fuzzy feeling and take a look at your favorite recipe. Let's take a look. Wow. So now that recipe looks delicious. So tell everyone, the viewers, your ultimate favorite dish.
My ultimate favorite is macaroni and cheese. I'm sorry. It's unparalleled, but macaroni and cheese is definitely my favorite dish for sure.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And you have, if you guys actually read the recipe really quickly, if not, if you want to take a look at it and have a moment to pause it, please go to our social media. You can see that recipe. It's loaded in our video section. So you do have a unique way, or your family has a unique way of doing it. So I definitely want to try your way. We do mac and cheese in our family too. It's definitely to each his own, right? But you
True.
cannot have a Thanksgiving without the mac and cheese, a
I
homemade
agree.
mac and cheese.
Oh,
Yes. So
most definitely.
that is awesome. You definitely have to take a picture this Thanksgiving with you and the mac and cheese. And then
Got
maybe
you covered.
take a selfie with you stirring the pot, right?
There we go. There we go.
Exactly. So definitely let us know what is your favorite recipe. We're super curious to know what your favorite dish is. Every attorney here at the law firm has a different dish. So make sure you tune into our timeline and see the videos that are loaded up. Last day is tomorrow, ending with attorney Darren Miller and today's attorney Ramesh Raghuthaman. So make sure you guys catch those today. So now, Clarence, I want to turn it over to you because you said that you're from Ohio. You went to school in Alabama. Now you're in Houston. So, what are your plans for Thanksgiving?
I am going to stop by a friend's house and probably watch some games and then come home and then virtually connect, like you were saying earlier, with my family that's spread all over the country. Get the phone passed around like every auntie and every cousin. They can just pass it
Oh,
around, say hello to everybody, tell them I wish them a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see them soon for Christmas.
yes, yes, yes. And make sure if you guys are 21 years or older, have a cocktail, have your turkey there. You're probably going to have like 5 plates of it. So that way, when you do your Zoom call, at least you have a meal right in front of you.
Right.
So,
Yes.
so tell us, for those that are watching, what are some of your family traditions? I know this year you're going to be doing it virtually, which a lot of us may be doing that, and that is okay. No need to get sad. There is a silver lining. Everything will go back to normal at some point. Now, what are some of those family traditions that you normally do? Do you go always to like an auntie's house, or you just always do it at your mom's house? How does it work?
We typically all meet at my aunt's house in Cleveland. And for some reason, my family feels that talent shows are necessary. So if you're youngest, one of the young cousins, or you're a young sibling, you're going to bring some instrument, some poem, something, and you're going to perform. I don't care if you're afraid, they're going to force you to do this.
Oh my
So
gosh.
luckily, I'm beyond that age bracket now. So now I get to just watch and be terrified.
You're
But
judged.
that's happening. It's going to be a talent show somewhere in the house, and they're going to make them show either a clarinet solo or a solo from church or a poem they wrote. Something is
Oh
going to
my
get
gosh.
performed in the front of the family. So that's going to happen typically. I wonder how we're going to do it this year. May all be on Zoom, but they're getting away lucky this year. Those little
Mute
kids
your
get away with
mics, and then the performer goes on stage, right,
it.
on Zoom. So I have to ask, when you were of that age, what was your talent?
Fun fact, I went to a performing arts school in middle school and high school. My mother saw that to be best, so I didn't have much of a say so in that. In hindsight, I'm glad I went there, learned a lot that applies across the board. But I think that I was forced to do, wow, this is happening. Okay, I was forced to do either some kind of poem or something, or some kind of like oratorical thing that either I was going to do at church for a program or a school. If it happened within 6 months, I was performing it in the front of the house, and then hopefully running out of the living room as fast as I could and going back to the basement so I could finally gain some of my dignity back. But that was an annual thing we did, and I didn't play an instrument. I wish I did. That'd be easier for me to do, but
Yeah.
I did different poems or speeches that I would have to perform at school.
But look, it got you prepared, because now as an attorney, you're having to speak in front of not only a jury, but a
Right.
judge. So you should thank your family members for that one, because it is
I do.
something that you can appreciate today.
I do. I don't know how my mom knew that ahead of time, but I appreciate her for it.
Yeah. And I do have a couple of comments. They're saying, let's see your talent. I'm just kidding. One day, that's a different show.
Okay.
We'll get it all set up. If you guys want to see Attorney Clarence King like really perform, we'll set
Okay.
that up. We'll make you.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see.
No, but it's been awesome. It's been such a pleasure to really get to know you, to really uncover those layers. I know a lot of people, when they meet attorneys, either they think the attorneys are intimidating, or they think that attorneys don't have a personality. But every single one of our attorneys that we've ever had in the show have an amazing heart, an amazing personality, and have so much to offer to our society and to this world. So I always ask our guests at the end of the show, if you had to give any words of advice or even positive words that you'd like to leave our viewers with, especially with holidays around the corner and all that good stuff, what would you leave our viewers with?
I would say that this has been a very, very trying year. The beauty of it is you're still here. We've all had ups and downs throughout this year. You're still here. You're still choosing to go forward and pushing forward. Stay positive. Your mental perspective often shapes things extremely differently depending on how you look out into the world. So stay positive. If you can uplift somebody else, do that. It'll come back full circle, and just stay positive.
Yes, I love that. I love that, because there's a lot of truth to that. This year has been very difficult to a lot of people. If you are one that is seeing the silver lining, or you're like Attorney Clarence King that just wants to make sure everyone has a smile, I challenge you guys to do that with your peers around you, your coworkers, your family members, because not everyone is able to mentally push forward. Not everyone's able to see the silver lining. So you have to kind of reach out and help someone that is around you. Right now, we're in a season of thankfulness, a season to be joyous of the holiday season that's coming around. It's not about the gifts. It's not about how much you put on the table, but it's about, going in the kitchen and just getting those relationships going again.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say that I'm super, super thankful for not just this amazing week, but this show, you guys, our viewers, the ability to have D. Miller and Associates. I'm super thankful for that, because we would not be able to be here and speaking to you guys and just really making a difference. So I want to definitely thank you guys for tuning in to Talk to Me Tuesday. I want to thank you guys for liking our show, for commenting, and most importantly, for sharing it. The more you share, the more we're able to also help someone else that's out there watching. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Talk to Me Tuesday on a Tuesday. I'm your host, Madi B. Until next time.